What is happiness? Now, I'll be the first to admit that finding happiness is not an easy task. I've spent years of my life searching for my own definition of happiness, and I think finally, I've found it. Before I reveal my own definition of happiness, I've interviewed several people to determine what happiness means to them. First, I went to my workplace, Bloom Skills Center, where I interviewed a couple of our program participants on what happiness means to them. What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness means when I get up in the morning, I feel really great about the next day, and when an event is about to happen, I get really excited inside, and I feel so excited, I put on a happy face.
Yeah. What does happiness mean to you?
It means smiling and happy.
My program manager said, happiness is feeling a sense of fulfillment and purpose in my life and knowing that I am giving and receiving kindness. Next, I went to my second workplace, the Giddy Goat Cafe, and interviewed my coworkers and bosses. What does happiness mean to you?
Yeah. Happiness is family and friends that are like that.
My coworker says happiness is being around people who make him laugh. Then, the co-owner of the place said happiness was sitting around a nice fire and listening to music with his wife. He also said that happiness was having warm sun on his face and reading a good book. After that, I went around the halls of Holy Cross and asked some students about their opinions. What does happiness mean to you?
Doing things you enjoy.
Like real happiness is like you just kind of sit and you're not like upset and you're not over ecstatic, but you just kind of like smile.
What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness means eating delicious things, playing with friends, hanging out with families, and visiting other countries.
What does happiness mean to you?
It means everything to me because we all evolve around happiness. Like our friends, you need to be happy in order to be friends.
What does happiness mean to you?
Well, to me, happiness means being able to go to sleep at the end of the day and feeling like I've accomplished something.
What does happiness mean to you?
I think that it means spreading kindness and being nice and being in a good mood.
What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness means being able to hang out with friends and family.
He's cooking.
Happiness to me is the temporary feeling of joy.
What does happiness mean to you?
I think happiness is the pursuit, not the pursuit to happiness. I think it is the pursuit. There's always something that you're wanting to desire. There's always something that's ahead of you that you can't reach. Happiness is when you take those steps towards that illusion.
I mean, happiness can be defined simply as, a major scale. Whereas sadness can be defined as a minor scale.
Wait, do we get to do our own mascara?
Oh, I know there's no chance.
That's what happiness and sadness mean to me.
Lastly, I was given the opportunity to talk to Pete Bombaci, the CEO of Genwell, a company focused on helping people find happiness, about his opinions on the topic.
What do you think happiness means? Like, what is happiness to you based on your research or your personal experiences?
Well, I think, again, there's what is happiness and what creates happiness. And even as somebody who I would say is a pretty happy guy, what I know is that happiness does not mean you're always happy.
Yeah.
I think the goal in life is actually to figure out what makes you happy, and when you're not happy, figure out what you can do, what actions you can take to return back to that state of happiness. Mm-hmm. I think the conversation around happiness has become the constant search for being happy. And the reality is, nobody's happy all the time. We all go through ups and downs. Frankly, today is not the greatest day, in the work we're doing. But, what we all need to recognize is you find the things that make you happier and healthier. And what we know from connection is the Robert Waldinger study out of Harvard, the adult science, the study of adult, I forget the actual name of the study, but it basically says, this is an 85-year study that says the single greatest contributor to happiness are our social connections and the relationships that come from those connections. So, we also know, and it's Dr. Laurie Santos, you can check out, she has the Science of Wellbeing course. It's on Coursera, it's free of charge. And it really touches on what are the things that actually give you long-lasting happiness. And, society might tell you it's a car or the next job or a financial plateau or the size of your house. But the research actually shows, in addition to social connection, it's about giving, it's about helping. It's the things that make us human that actually drive the greatest happiness, not the things that, we as a society have grown up, I don't want to say educating, I'd call it hoodwinking people into believing that, when I get the car, when I get the house, when I get this amount of money, that's when I'll be happy. And the reality is, happiness does not come for those things. And, Dr. Laurie Santos's course will actually, it identifies that a new house gives you, I forget what it is, 6 weeks of happiness. Because for only 6 weeks is that a new house. After that, it's just a house. Same thing with a car, same thing with all the stuff we buy. It's recognizing that happiness doesn't come from stuff. It comes from, the people and the life that we create around us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. So basically what I'm getting from that is you're saying that's it's our relationships and what we how we interact with others that kind of make us happy. So if we fill our lives with people that bring us up, that's kind of how you find the key to happiness, if you will.
I would suggest that is what the research would suggest, is that if you take advantage, so first off, there's another gentleman, Dr. Robin Dunbar out of the UK, who talks about, it's not through the context of happiness, I don't believe, but we need 3 to 5 close friends. And I think this is for people your age. I think it's important for us to understand that in this social media crazed world where everybody has 500 or 1,000 friends, and people, I think the 2 biggest things that young people want today is fame and fortune. And recognizing, look, we can look at so many examples of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade and Robin Williams, people who had everything you could ever want in life, and they obviously weren't happy. And there's a lot of people out there that have great wealth or great fame, struggle with being happy. And so I think when we understand that the simple thing in life may be the most important, but maybe we've lost our clarity, maybe we've lost our direction, that I think if we can help people understand that connection is the fundamental need we all have to create our happiness, that people will be far better off, because we've spent 50 years educating people on exercise and eating well and sleep and water and don't drink too much and don't smoke. But if, the key to happiness really lies within the social connections and bonds then we need to make sure that people understand it. And I'll finish off, Tori, just by saying, oftentimes we think of connection only through the lens of our family and friends, but we forget the connection is all around us every day, whether it's talking to a stranger, which research shows those who talk to strangers are 3 times happier than those who don't talk to strangers. Told people for 50 years, don't talk to strangers. Your neighbor reduces your sense of happiness. Building relationships with your classmates or your colleagues can have a greater impact on your happiness and your reduced loneliness than relationships with your own family and your own friends. And really that's just saying, look, you spend a lot of time studying. And so you spend time in school, you study together. When you have positive relationships in your classroom or in your workplace, that has a really important impact on you as a human being. So look at connections in every part of your life so that you feel supported. Family, friends, neighbors, classmates, colleagues, strangers, because if we take advantage of all those occasions, we're going to create the healthy connection habits that make us happier and healthier.
Yeah. Thank you. And just one final question, just to sum up, do you think that happiness is a state that you can reach, or is it just little moments that you have to savor as they come up?
It's a really great question. I actually have a diagram in a presentation that I use, which really shows, the goal in life is to obviously be as happy as often as possible. So the uneducated person, when I say uneducated on what actually makes you happy, probably has a diagram that looks like this. And it's just a constant up and down because they don't recognize what it is that helps them stay happy or makes them happy. And then if I give you the information, but you don't take it to heart and you don't practice it, your diagram probably looks more like a rounding circle because you're going to still have the ups and downs. You're kind of like, I kind of recognize it. And where Gen Well is trying to get 40 million Canadians, Tori, is we're trying to get people to do this, where you come up to the top and you sustain it longer because you know that social connection is such a priority in your life. And then when you go down, the down isn't a long flat line at the bottom. So you go up, it's long and consistent. And then when you go down, you come back up. Because as I said right off the top, is if you understand that social connection is such a critical component to your happiness, your health, your longevity, and to a better society, then, and you start implementing this with your classmates so that you start saying hello to people when you see them in the morning. You start hanging out and spending time at lunchtime. You do study groups and working together. When you take all of these opportunities throughout the course of your day to build healthier connections and create friendships and relationships that will last a lifetime, that's when you get to the point where you realize that you can create that sustained happiness at the top. And when you feel bad, maybe you fail an exam, maybe you have a struggle with a relationship with a friend, you have a fight one day, or maybe with your mom, or whoever it might be. And what we need to realize is we need to create this circle of friendships all around us, connections all around us, so that when you have a trouble in one area, you've got somebody else that you can go and hang out with, you can lean on. And so that's what we're trying to do, is help people recognize that all of these social connections combined give you the support network that creates that sustainable happiness. And that when you do have a problem, because we all go through stuff in life, you know, whether it's failed exams or you lose a job or you have a relationship issue or financial pressure, or maybe you get a cold for 3 weeks and you're not able to see people the way you normally see people, so you feel disconnected. So that takes you down. But as soon as you feel better, you think to yourself, that's right, I need to go back and get connection. What I missed the most in being sick and not being able to go to class, not being able to go to parties, not being able to do whatever I love to do, the first thing we got to get back to is those connections that make us happier and healthier.
So, what does happiness mean to me? After considering my own lived experiences as well as the answers I've gotten in these interviews, I can conclude that happiness is so much more than any one thing. It's learning to make meaningful connections with those around us while still being able to let go of relationships that no longer serve us. It's being able to make time for exciting events and appreciating the little things. It's achieving our goals and setting new ones in their place to keep us going. It's feeling comfortable being at peace in our own lives and not feeling envious towards those of others. It's making the conscious decision each day to make the most of what we have and being able to look for the bright side of every situation. It's the little moments of joy that eventually bond together to form a state of happiness. As Pete said, happiness is not always being happy. But in my opinion, it's instead having enough little moments to make the bad times feel okay. Happiness is not something that we are given in life, but rather a choice that we have to make for ourselves each day, no matter how difficult it may feel. That is what happiness means to me.